Hi, welcome to this webinar on sport prevention plus wellness. My name is Dr. Chudley Wirch, and I'm founder and president at Prevention Plus Wellness, LLC. The purpose of today's webinar is to describe both the why and how to implement the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. There are three objectives for today's webinar. Number one, participants will be able to list at least 3 reasons for choosing Prevention Plus Wellness programs over typical prevention programs. Secondly, participants will be able to describe key benefits of using PPW programs like the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. And thirdly, participants will be able to explain how positive images can be used to influence health behaviors based on the behavior image model. So the first topic that we'll be discussing is the topic of reasons for selecting Prevention Plus programs over typical prevention programs. Currently, there's an epidemic of multiple health risks and even coexisting risks among American youth. There are many common health risks among youth, including alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use. For example, alcohol consumption behaviors like drinking, driving, riding with a drinking driver, or initiating use, drinking regularly, or drinking heavily, or binge drinking, which is usually defined as 5 or more drinks for males and 4 or more for females. All of these behaviors pose different levels of risk for young people. In addition, other substance use behaviors include tobacco use, e-cigarette use, smokeless tobacco use, marijuana consumption, prescription drug abuse, heroin use, and so forth. In addition to the substance use risk habits, there are also chronic disease health risks among youth. These include physical inactivity, unhealthy eating, not getting adequate sleep, and uncontrolled stress. These types of risks are associated with the development of heart disease, stroke, and cancer later on in life. Number 2, the majority of U.S. youth are actually have been shown to experience 2 or more risk behaviors at the same time. That is both groups of young people as well as individual adolescents. And also that the average young person in America experiences, a third of them experience 3 or more risk behaviors, and that was from a national study that examined only 4 risk habits. We looked at some of our own data that we had collected over the years, a sample of over 1,200 adolescents, and we looked at 8 risk factors, and we found that the average young person experienced 3, 4, or even 5 risk habits at the same time. These could be substance use, and they could be chronic disease risk behaviors at the same time. An interesting thing about health habits is that they are oftentimes associated and they can influence each other. Unfortunately, there are a number of problems associated with typical prevention programs, even those that are considered evidence-based. Most prevention programs target only single or related behaviors. It's not uncommon to find substance use prevention programs, for example, that target just alcohol use or tobacco consumption or drug use as a whole, but don't address the chronic disease risk factors. Another typical problem with prevention programs is that they don't address health behavior associations. In other words, they assume that health behaviors are not related to each other, and they address them in these individual programs. You could have a program for alcohol prevention, one for smoking prevention, one for smoking cessation, another for heroin prevention, and so forth. Even school-based health education, which can be very comprehensive and address multiple health behaviors, does not link the behaviors and show how they're associated and can influence each other. Another shortcoming of prevention programs is that they oftentimes emphasize negative content in images. It's common for prevention programs to emphasize the prevalence of use, the severity of use, and to show images such as a young person getting sick from using alcohol, for example, or a needle stuck in an arm. And while this negative content images are fine, usually for younger people as adolescents age, this negative content becomes less effective in influencing their health habits. Lastly, prevention programs are typically too lengthy and are therefore not practical in time-stressed organizations like schools and clinics, hospitals and youth groups, community settings, and so forth. There's some organization, a health department, I believe it was in California, that had an evidence-based prevention program that was 8 sessions in length, and it was free. And they were implementing it throughout the county. All 8 sessions in the county was as far away as 50 miles across. And so this health department was going about thinking that they were saving money by implementing this 8-session free evidence-based prevention program. But once they realized the time and effort and expense of going across 50 miles and implementing 8 sessions, they realized that they were, in fact, expending lots of time and energy resources doing that. So there are some real potential advantages of connecting prevention plus wellness in single programs. By unifying prevention along with wellness, in a single program and a single setting, you're saving a lot of money and a lot of time versus having individual programs for addressing, again, separate health problems and health behaviors in different settings. In addition, connecting prevention with wellness is likely to achieve both broader and larger effects. Broader effects because obviously you're addressing more than one risk factor. So if you have a program like sport that addresses not just alcohol, tobacco, and other drug abuse prevention, but also addresses physical activity and sports, healthy eating, and sleep, obviously you increase the chances of having broader health effects. And to the extent that behaviors are associated and influencing each other, you can also increase the effects of your programs by having them connected or unified, prevention with wellness. At this point, I just want to stop for a couple of minutes and have you think about what are at least 3 reasons for selecting prevention plus wellness programs over typical narrowly focused prevention programs. Write down your answers right now. The next topic and second topic that we'll be discussing are the key benefits of using prevention plus wellness programs like SPORT, PPW. And here's a list of some of the advantages or the benefits of using prevention programs. For example, our prevention plus wellness programs are extremely practical because they're very brief. In fact, the SPORT prevention plus wellness program is a single lesson program. So no matter how time-strapped or busy an organization and professionals are, they can usually find time to implement a single lesson program. Secondly, prevention plus wellness programs address prevention and wellness, not prevention or wellness. And by that, they're much more holistic in nature and can have broader effects. Third, prevention plus wellness programs focus on positive behavior and image is emphasized. And in other words, for example, sport addresses physical activity and healthy eating, getting sleep, sports participation, and even a little bit of stress management. And those topics are very appealing to young people, to parents, and to providers. And because of that, we see that a program like SPORT and all of our prevention plus wellness programs can increase participation and continuation in program participation over time because of the focus on positive behaviors and the positive images that young people can gain in the future by engaging in these wellness behaviors. Number 4, some of our programs like sport also include optional parent materials, including a parent letter and 4 weekly flyers that can be mailed out or handed out or emailed out in both English and Spanish, and as well as some web-based resources for parents and for young people that are organized within the topics that are discussed within sport. In other words, physical activity, web resources, healthy eating web resources, getting adequate sleep, controlling stress, and avoiding substance use. Now, these optional parent materials and youth materials can be used as follow-up, or they can be used to strengthen your intervention. They can also be used individually or separately from the one lesson sport program. Number 5, Prevention Plus Wellness programs are all tailored to each youth's current health habits. 6, our programs are scripted to increase implementation fidelity or accuracy. 7, our Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program for adolescents and our InShape Prevention Plus Wellness program for young adults are both evidence-based, while our other programs are evidence-informed, all based on the behavior image model and the 4-step SFGF model, which we'll describe in just a few minutes. The sport program is evidence-based because it has been developed with research funded from the National Institutes of Health. We have published outcomes of its effectiveness in both preventing and reducing alcohol, tobacco, marijuana use while increasing healthy habits like physical activity, and sport is listed on evidence-based databases like NREPP or NREP, which is the National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices, the federal government's database of treatment and prevention in mental health and substance abuse. Lastly, Prevention Plus Wellness programs, as organizations and implementers, you have an option to implement them as the originally developed one-on-one format, like an individual coaching session, or in a group, like in a classroom. Currently, sport is being used in 47 or 48 states across the U.S., as well as a number of other countries. And if you look down this list, you can see the different locations and the very broad types of a range of organizations that are using sport. So you can see that sport is being used by councils of alcohol and drug dependence, youth services organizations, boys and girls clubs, county substance abuse prevention programs, sports foundations, health clinics and hospitals, YMCAs, youth centers, coalitions, and school districts. Now, sport has undergone a number of clinical trials where young people were assigned to receive the single lesson program or the PERT materials, and others were provided either typical health education materials. And these studies have been published, and this is a summary of the findings across those studies. For example, number 1, the sports single lesson program has been shown to influence both substance use and wellness habits of young and older adolescents. Sport prevents and reduces substance use and problems, with some effects lasting up to a year, which is rather amazing, given that we're talking about a single lesson intervention. Sport parent flyers, which were studied in one trial, were found to influence substance use among adolescents. So just the parent flyers alone can be effective. Sport has been shown to impact multiple health behaviors of youth from diverse cultures. In fact, we conducted a trial in Istanbul, Turkey, where the sport program was translated into Turkish, and the study was conducted as a part of a thesis for a nursing student, and she had a trial where young people were randomized to receive the single lesson sport program or a control group. And the study showed that over time, those kids that were given the single lesson sport program increased all of their targeted health behaviors: physical activity, healthy eating, sleep, and so forth. The effect sizes for the sport program that we have found in our studies are actually larger for substance-using youth. So sport can be used as a universal prevention program for all young people because all young people are exposed to these multiple risks, whether they be substance use or chronic disease risks. They can all benefit from improving their health habits in one way or another. But the sport program also has been shown to have even larger effect sizes in substance use for those that are already using substances. So, for example, the effect sizes for reducing binge drinking, the most serious type of drinking behavior among adolescents, was the effect sizes were actually large in nature. And that's, in other words, there's as big as you can get from that single session program, and the effect sizes remained, I think, medium to large even a year later among substance using youth. So sport can be used as a universal prevention program or among higher risk groups as a selective or indicated prevention program. And lastly, adaptations of sport have been shown to influence other wellness habits like increasing healthy nutrition, stress management, and enhancing sleep. Another very unique aspect of our Prevention Plus Wellness programs is that they use a proven screening and brief intervention model. Screening and brief interventions have been perhaps the most widely studied and found effective approaches for influencing health habits for both adults and young people. And our four-step model, which we call the SFGF model, includes these steps: screening, feedback, goal setting, and follow-up. So the first step is screening. That is, young people are screened for their individuals for their current health habits. Second step is providing feedback about their current health habits, and wellness image communication, which connects alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use with healthy behaviors. Then thirdly, goal setting and monitoring of multiple behavior goals not just to avoid substance use, but to engage in one or more wellness behaviors. And lastly, following up and supporting maintaining the effects. And this could include either providing some of those follow-up strategies that sporting has with the parents and youth. It can include, if you have access to the kids, following up with their goal setting, letting them have additional opportunities to revise their goals, or it could include merely re-implementing the sport program or any of our Prevention Plus Wellness programs on a regular basis, every year at least, or every twice a year. Our research has shown that, again, effects were found even a year later, but they did weaken over time. So we view our programs, Prevention Plus Wellness programs, including sport, as an inoculation against common risk habits that young people are exposed to in modern society. Much like you need to get an annual flu shot, we recommend an annual screening, feedback, and goal setting intervention for young people, at least on an annual basis, to help protect them from both substance use and chronic disease risk behaviors. So, what are the key benefits of using Prevention Plus Wellness programs like sport? Or let me ask it another way: what are the benefits that you like most, that you're most impressed with about using the sport program? Think about that for just a couple minutes. Our last topic is how positive images can be used to influence health behaviors. The Behavior Image Model, or BIM, is the roadmap that we've used for developing our brief Prevention Plus Wellness programs. And over time, the Behavior Image Model has informed the development of the programs, and what we've learned from developing and evaluating the programs have helped us further advance the Behavior Image Model, making it more effective. At the current time, the Behavior Image Model has two primary components. The first is, and all of our programs reflect this, is that you can trigger or cue positive images that young people have of their peers and of themselves in the future engaged in the healthy behaviors, and this can increase motivation to change both those healthy behaviors and avoid the risk behaviors. And secondly, our goal is to increase self-regulation or self-control skills by giving young people an opportunity to set multiple behavior goals. Again, goals that are aimed at avoiding substance use, but also improving wellness behaviors. Now, why are positive images so effective? Well, one aspect of this is that you can see positive images have a theoretical or conceptual basis in multiple health behavior theories. For example, social cognitive theory highlights the role of positive models in influencing behavior in general and health behavior specifically. Secondly, we believe youth are more likely to use an intuitive rather than an empirical approach in making health decisions, including avoiding substance use. An intuitive approach is one based on experience and is driven by images, versus an empirical approach, which means you weigh the pros and cons or the benefits and costs for engaging in a health decision. So if you think of a young person in a party setting with some friends, if they're offered marijuana, what approach would they more likely be using to make a decision as to whether to smoke that marijuana? Would it be something intuitive, sort of a gut reaction based on images of themselves and their peers, or would they actually take a moment and then weigh, well, what are the advantages of me smoking, what are the disadvantages? We believe, and research I think highlights this, that in a modern society with lots of data and lots coming at us, young people as well as adults are more and more using an intuitive gut approach. And again, this type of an approach for decision making is driven to a large extent based on images of ourselves and others. Lastly, the use of appealing images has a practical foundation in image advertising and image marketing. And this has been the case since the foundation of modern advertising and marketing throughout the world. In fact, marketers, major companies, billion-dollar companies, spend hundreds and millions of dollars of advertising, and much of that advertising will show positive images. Just as one example. And by the way, these images are used for selling everything from beer to clothing to automobiles. And as an example, during the Super Bowl earlier this year, there was a beer commercial, and the beer commercial was beautifully done. It showed a lot of young people engaged in some outstanding physical activity. They were all extremely healthy, vigorous, and they were flying and jumping and running, and it was an amazing. And then at the end of it, the advertisement showed that these young people were drinking low-calorie beer. So they linked those positive, appealing, healthy images of physically fit, active young people to this product, which was a low-calorie alcohol beverage. Here's another example in print form of image advertising. At the bottom of this print advertisement, you could see that there was an appealing image. A young woman is standing up in front of her couch. She's doing some exercising. You know, she's touching her toes, and above that, you can see the words "New Year," "New You." So there's a nice message there, a powerful message about this is a new year, and you're starting it out, and you could have a new you by doing exercise. And also, what says a new you and a new year more than the product, which is highlighted in the middle of the ad, and that is processed meat. So they're actually selling the product of processed meat in this advertisement. They're linking the appealing images and message, that positive image and message, to promoting the deli cuts meat. Here's another example of an appealing image, a young woman who looks fit, and they're selling an athletic shoe, but it's just not any type of athletic shoe, because if you read the bottom of the ad, you can see that you can literally get in shape without setting a foot in the gym. So you just put these shoes on, and I'm assuming you have to walk in them or move in some way. And if you look at the woman and look around her body, everything from her calves to her knees to her stomach and buttocks to her shoulders are positively shaped up with these shoes. So here's another example of a product. A shoe, in this case, is being promoted by a positive image, an appealing image. Why can't we therefore use appealing positive images for not promoting a product as much as a behavior or lifestyle? And so here's an example of how you can do that. You use highly vivid image generating words like fit and active, athletic and disciplined, and these words might explain or help characterize this particular illustration of this woman who's exercising and looks like she's exercising in cold weather. So what's the behavior that we're promoting here? What's the lifestyle? It could be aerobic exercise in general, or more specifically, it could be running or jogging. Here's another example of, again, image terms, very vivid, visceral terms, which by just communicating them, you can immediately and non-consciously think of peers and yourself in the future. And here it is, the term strong and powerful and resilient. And the illustration is of a female, and what's the behavior that's being promoted? It could be muscle strengthening exercise in general, or more specifically, a push-up or push-ups. Here's an illustration of four healthy, happy, energetic people. They're smiling, and they're also promoting healthy eating, and it looks like they're eating actually some vegetables, salads. And here's another illustration of promoting healthy behaviors or a healthy lifestyle with the terms calm and peaceful, relaxed and stress-free. And the young lady in there, you can see she's meditating or doing some type of relaxation. And we're even promoting fruit consumption in the background. So you'll notice, or perhaps you have already, that in Prevention Plus Wellness programs, we have a scheme for presenting these kinds of messages, including the sport program. And the first thing that's done is positive images are associated with a specific health-enhancing behavior. And what we're doing here, what we're trying to do, and doing it very effectively, I believe, is creating a mental picture of a specific healthy behavior using these vivid terms and illustrations that represent the target population that you'll be working with. In other words, make sure there's males and females and different ethnic groups and age-appropriate illustrations. And this is the example of the first communication or message in quotes. Young people, and so this is a peer message, young people who engage in regular physical activity tend to feel energetic, sleep better, and look more active, fit, and confident. So here we're linking regular physical activity, that's the behavior, to these images which are underlined: energetic, active, fit, and confident. And we're also including other positive outcomes like sleeping better. That's what's done first in all of our prevention programs. We link positive outcomes, particularly images, to the health-enhancing behavior. And then we follow that by linking the risk behavior to those, to that behavior, positive behavior, and images. And you can see the example in this quote: alcohol use can get in the way of participating in moderate physical activity and achieving your fitness goals of being in shape, looking good, and feeling fit and active. So that's really the two-step simplified approach. First step, we cue the positive images, link them to the health behavior, wellness behavior, and then we link a risk behavior to those positive images and behavior. Now, there are some limitations to using positive images, or actually any approach in prevention, because that is that there's not a single approach, no silver bullet will be effective for all audience members. So knowing this, in addition to the image-based positive outcomes, we also include, as I alluded to, non-image positive outcomes to broaden the message and to reach a broader audience and increase its effectiveness of our communication. So, for example, getting more and better sleep is a non-image based positive outcome, as is feeling confident, having more energy, and having improved physical performance. So we have both. So we provide in prevention plus wellness programs, including sport, not just the image outcomes, but also other positive outcomes from the wellness behaviors. One other disadvantage I'd like to highlight, which is rare but nonetheless important, and that is appearance-based images can cause some anxiety about having a less than perfect physique. So what we do to address that concern is that we include images that support healthy body image only. So in addition to appearance-based images, we also include feel-good images. We target a variety of healthy-looking youth that may not look trim, for example, but are nonetheless healthy in their behavior, in their activity, and their use of healthy eating, for example. We focus on only healthy habits, and there is no promotion of unhealthy habits like dieting. And we do want to communicate with young people that being fit and healthy does not mean being perfect. And in fact, we can all improve our health habits, but we aren't necessarily going to reach the images that are portrayed in other media that oftentimes target young people. Other unrealistic and unhealthy images of, for example, men or women that are very skinny. An interesting side note is that our research showed that those young people that were assigned to the single lesson sport program as compared to a health education program actually improved their healthy body image. So we believe that we've got a nice balance of image and non-image messages, appearance-based and non-appearance-based, and all the behaviors focusing on healthy improvement as recommended by health agencies, the national and international health agencies, really help actually combat a negative body image. So the last question I have for you is, how are positive images used to influence health behaviors? Well, they're used because they're founded in theory and research and in practice in advertising, and now it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's a rare thing for whatever reason that our programs, Prevention Plus Wellness, actually are harnessing the tremendous power of appealing images of peers and of future images of themselves, young people themselves in the future, engaging in these healthy habits and then capitalizing on it by having them write goals that will help them achieve those positive images as life values. Just to let you know, in addition to sport, we have a number of other programs. We have youth leadership training, in which young people can be trained to implement any of our programs, including sport. We did a training just not too many weeks ago of some high school students in California, in Chico, California. We did a training online, and they were trained to implement the sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. Juniors were designed to implement it with among their younger freshman peers. We also have the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program, as we talked about today, in 3 versions. The older adolescent, which is for high school, the young adolescent for middle school, and for children, the older elementary age kids. We have sport recovery for adolescents in substance abuse treatment or recovery. We have Sport 2 Prevention Plus Wellness in 2 versions for young and older adolescents. Sport 2 is actually 6 individual lessons. So if you wanted more content for your young people, it really, and it goes in more in-depth with regard to physical activity, healthy eating, controlling weight, and stress management. We also have an InShape Prevention Plus Wellness, our single lesson evidence-based prevention program for young adults. We have In God's Image, a 3-session program for faith-based settings which want to promote physical, mental, and spiritual health among young people. Our PPW Adult Recovery Program is for adults in treatment or recovery. And lastly, we have the Prevention Plus Wellness Program for parents, 7 individual lessons where parents can provide these to their youth using screening of their health habits, providing tailored feedback, and helping them work through the whole setting in a number of behaviors, including physical activity, healthy eating, controlling stress, and school success. In addition, we have site licenses we offer, which provide training within them for free, as well as permission to make unlimited copies of our program manuals, and also to customize the manuals to the organization's logo or title or colors, as well as to the needs of the youth or young adult population. And of course, we have online and on-site implementer and training of trainer workshops. If you have any other questions, just go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com. There's a lot of resources at our website, a lot of information. You could sign up to receive regular blasts, which we typically send out 1 a week, and you'll learn a lot more about evidence-based programs which connect prevention with wellness. You could also email us at info@preventionpluswellness.com and call us anytime in our Jacksonville office, Jacksonville, Florida, 904-472-5022. And regardless of whether you buy a program or training or have a site license, we are dedicated to ensure that you have a successful experience, your kids enjoy your programs, and that it's successful and effective for you. And that's why we are always available. And you can reach out to us either by email or by calling us at any time. We're a small organization, and that's why we're very flexible and dedicated to all of our customers. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief session on sport prevention plus wellness. If you have any questions, reach out to us, contact us. We're happy to help any way we can. Thank you very much for listening.